Coming right up, Straight Talk with Art Levine. Our guest tonight, Long Beach City Auditor Laura Doud, as we continue our 24th anniversary year.
Straight Talk is brought to you in part by the Port of Long Beach, a leader in international trade and environmental stewardship. And the Press Telegram, your local news leader for over 100 years. And Scan Health Plan, for your health and independence.
Join us for tonight's edition of Straight Talk. And now your host, Art Levine.
Good evening and welcome to Straight Talk. We have a great show for you tonight. Our guest for the entire show is our Long Beach City Auditor, Laura Doud. Laura, welcome back to Straight Talk.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, let's talk about the year just past, 2015, and some of the things that you and your office accomplished.
Thank you. I think it has been a really great year. We've had a lot of great success throughout the city. There's a lot going on. You know, I must say right off the top that I have a wonderful staff. They are professional, diligent, work hard for the city, and I'm really grateful that we're working together to help the city become better. One of our main accomplishments over the year is, I think one of the great benefits for the city of Long Beach is having an independent city auditor, a city auditor that reports independently to the people.
And elected by the people.
Yes, elected by the people, that reports to the people. And in this day of technology advancements, we worked really hard to, in our communication methods, to make it easier for us to communicate with the public and for the public to communicate with us. So we initiated several means of communication through social media. We have a Facebook account, Twitter account. We have a new mobile app, My Auditor app, that the public can download for free at the App Store or Google Play. We have revitalized our website to make it easier for mobile devices to access. And so it's really, I think in the past, it's always been sort of a one-way communication from us to them. Now we've really opened up the channels of communication to make it easier for the public to communicate with us and to give them real-time information as it's happening. And I'm really pleased that we've been able to make these great strides in open communication with the constituents that we serve, with those that we represent. So I think that was one of our great accomplishments for the year. And
that makes it a joint effort, because I know you get feedback from the public. We'll talk later about the fraud hotline where you get tips, but it's not just you and your staff doing your job, but it's trying to engage the public in what you are doing.
Right, and where do we focus our resources and how we can best serve the needs of the public. We did receive several fraud hotline calls this past year, which drove some of the audits that we did perform and accomplish. One was the public safety dispatcher overtime audit. The dispatchers that work in the 911 call centers, there were vacancies within the department, and they were all being filled with overtime. In some cases,
which is more expensive, of course, than regular pay.
Yes, and in some cases, dispatchers were receiving just as much, or if not more, of their salary than in overtime.
Wow.
But as a whole, 22% was spent on overtime. And the dispatcher function, as you know, is a very critical function.
High stress,
high demand. And we found that there was really a safety risk for fatigue if they're working too much overtime. So our recommendations were to increase the recruitment efforts, to fill the vacancies, to cut down the overtime, to reduce the risk, any safety risk, and they took those recommendations to heart, and they are improving their recruitment efforts. And I think overall it was a big
plus a win-win-win. It's less fatigued dispatchers, saving the city money, less overtime, and everyone wins.
Yes, so we felt that was a really great one as well. We did
reselling of impounded autos.
Yes, that's right. Our vehicle lien sales audit where those cars that are impounded, that aren't picked up, the city sells those and receives about $2.75 million annually in that kind of revenue. We found that there were some weaknesses in the operational controls over that, which caused risk for fraud, and also in the management and inventory of the personal property that went along with those cars. And so we made recommendations. Actually, we made 44 recommendations
Wow.
in this audit for them to tighten up the controls, tighten up the management, tighten up the inventory of these, and make improvements in that area.
And you also did digital and e-government best practices audit.
Yes, we did. Our mayor now is a big champion for technology advancements and keeping up with technology. I think the city of Long Beach is doing a good job. It's difficult, to keep up with technology, but this is a real high priority for the mayor. And we did a benchmark report in studying other cities and what they innovative ideas that they're having to improve technology to make it easier to serve the constituents and to hear the constituents. And so we made this report and made some recommendations to the mayor, to the commission that he established on innovation and technology, as well as the innovation team the city has in-house that oversees the $4 million Bloomberg grant for ideas to increase technology.
Yes.
So this has been a real high.
So what grade would you give the city? I mean, we're good, but there's room for growth.
Yeah,
and
I think
improvement.
I think there is room for growth, but I think as a whole, the city has all kinds of new apps now available for the public. It has online services. You don't have to come down to City Hall anymore to pay all of your fees and so forth. You can do so much online. Yeah. And so I'd like to give them credit for the progress that is being made in the technology area, and it's something I think that will continue to be a priority for the city as it grows, and as we have this grant available to help us be innovative and find better ways of serving.
Outstanding. Well, we'll be continuing this conversation with our city auditor, the city watchdog, as we say, after these messages.
At the Port of Long Beach, we're not only delivering jobs, smart ideas, and forward-thinking environmental initiatives. We're also delivering opportunity for all of Southern California. Oh, and a clearer horizon line. To learn more, go to polb.com. The Port of Long Beach, thinking outside the docks.
At Performance Plus Tire, you'll find we carry Toyo tires. For over 50 years, Toyo has been a world leader in the development of high-quality tires. Optimum performance, safety, and a comfortable ride. That's what makes Toyo tires great. And now come into Performance Plus Tire for a great deal on these Toyo tires. Proxys ST, Open Country AT, and Proxys 4. Toyo tires, driven to perform. Come in today and we'll install new Toyo tires on your vehicle while you wait. Performance Plus Tire on Cherry Avenue, 1 mile north of the 405 in Long Beach.
We are back with our city auditor, Laura Doud. Laura, I know last year you also were peer-reviewed again, the third triennial peer review, and your office again came out with very good marks on that.
Yes, I'm very pleased to report that we did. And often, Art, the question comes up about who audits the auditors.
Yes.
And we're very pleased to report that we do undergo a triennial, once every 3 years, audit of our peers throughout the country. They're randomly selected. I don't know. They're independent. They come in and review our operations to make sure we're in compliance with the standards.
Great.
And so I'm very pleased to report that we are at industry standards, and I think it provides great reliability and confidence to the public that our office is in line with and in compliance with all of the standards required by our government.
Well, you have put out this remarkable document, the Annual Work Plan and Accomplishments Reports. And I know historically you always had a work plan for each year, but this year you've actually published it about what you're going to be doing during 2016. And that includes, and this really impressed me, the follow-up of all the audits you did between 2010 and 2014 to see that these things are actually being implemented so they're not just sitting on the shelf.
Yes, exactly. And just want to touch quickly on how, as the independent auditor that reports to the public, oftentimes the public's not really sure what we do. And although we had a plan in the past, we hadn't published it. So we've really felt it was an opportunity to be more transparent with the public, to let them know what we're doing, and also to the departments that we're planning to audit, so that I think it sends a message about our style, that we're not there to play kachu, but we're there about the goal to improve Long Beach and make recommendations to make things better. So we list who we're going to audit, and if they have changes they need to make before we get there, then by all means make the changes and let's work together.
So it's not a gotcha.
Right. And I mean, there's the oftentimes with auditing, people get a bit defensive, and we understand that, but I think it's the more transparent and open we can be with what we're planning to do, I think all the better. And then also, this is, as you mentioned, 1 year where we are going back and following up on the past 5 years of the audits that we've done and the recommendations we've made, and to track the implementation from the departments on what improvements they have made. And
which still remain to be done.
Yes. And that's really the goal here. It's about making change. It's about making improvements. And I mean, without enforcement or without implementation, they don't mean anything. And I have to say, with the outstanding professional staff we have that put their heart and soul and sweat and tears into their work, we really take it seriously. It's important that change happens, that they're listening, that something's happening, that we're moving forward. And so this is why we did the implementation audit, and that's what it's all about. It's about implementing change for the better.
Well, to your credit and the credit of your office, there obviously, when it's announced, there's a certain defensiveness normally. They're looking at us, they're going to. But you've gotten a lot of cooperation from the different departments, and they realize you're not out to, quote, get them, but you're just out to make the process work better. So the attitude that you have towards the people you're auditing helps smooth the road to a successful audit.
Yes, and I think the more information we can put out there, the more transparent we can be, the more we let the public know what we're doing and the avenues from which they can communicate with us, I think all the better for everybody.
And among the upcoming work projects you're planning for 2016 is the park landscaping audit. Tell us about what you're going to be looking there.
Well, as you know, the city has expanded and grown in number of parks throughout the city, which is a wonderful thing. It's really created our identity here in Long Beach with the wonderful park space that we have, and the quality of life that our public enjoys at our parks. With the increased number of parks throughout the city, you know that we're experiencing a severe drought, and we feel like the conditions and the complaints that we've received are that the conditions of the parks and the trees are declining. and with the drought, that's causing, part of the problem. And so we want to look at the city's strategy and how they're maintaining the funding, the needs to keep our parks maintained at a level that's desirable
Sure.
for the public.
Yeah, and Long Beach has a long history of outstanding parks, and we have a lot of trees in Long Beach but they need to be maintained.
And we have an antiquated irrigation system that needs to be upgraded. And
We do not need to have sprinklers during the rain.
No, we don't. And we need.
As a water commissioner, we get a lot of complaints about that, and we need to address that.
Yes, and so you know better than anyone the need for a good strategy to keep our parks and trees maintained.
Yeah. Well, what really impressed me is the follow-up, because so many reports are well drafted and well thought out, and then they sit on the shelf. But you know, and the departments that you audit know that you'll be following their hopeful progress, or in some cases lack of progress, in implementing what you both have agreed that they need to do. Because at the end of the day, they've agreed. You come in and you give them a bunch of recommendations, and in most cases they agree with it. They say, you're right,
Right,
and
that's
we'll
right.
do it.
Yes,
And
yes.
now you want to see that they did it.
Right,
Okay.
and we'll be continuing to monitor that
And
as
they
well.
know that. And
Yes.
as we know, if you know that they're going to be watching, little incentive to get it done.
Right.
Okay, we'll be back with more of our show after these messages.
How do you like your chances the rest of the way?
I got no idea. But I do know that if we stay with Naples Rib Company, at least we won't go hungry.
Coach, what do you think about some of those questionable calls tonight?
Oh, yeah. But if you want a sound call, I'd call Naples Rib Company. You can't miss on that call.
Then Naples Rib Company is part of your game plan?
There really is nothing more motivating than a great barbecue meal at Naples Rib Company.
Victory or not, Naples Rib Company, great game plan.
Founded in 1976, Polly's Gourmet Coffee is Southern California's most complete gourmet coffee store. Polly's has the best tasting coffee, freshly roasted every day right in the store, plus a wide selection of teas, an in-house bakery, espresso bar, patio dining, and more. We also offer Wi-Fi, free internet access for all of our customers. Our nationwide clientele agree, when it comes to coffee, there's only one name to remember, Polly's, 4606 East 2nd Street, welcoming you into Belmont Shore.
When I was a boy growing up in Italy, I had a dream to own my own store. I came to the United States and I worked hard as a tailor. Hi, I'm Umberto. I've been in Long Beach since 1960, carrying the finest quality men's clothing. Italy's a long way away, but styles are just around the corner. Umberto, 2141 Bellflower, Long Beach.
Phone! Does anybody work here? Jeez. Satellite TV, what's the problem?
I have a question about my bill. And since you merged with the phone company, I don't know who I'm supposed to call.
Well, you should probably call the phone company.
I did. They told me to call you.
Please call them back and tell them that we told you to call them.
They told me to tell me that and told me to call you.
Let me transfer you directly to the phone company then.
It's time to move on from satellite. For customer service without the runaround, get Spectrum.
They transferred him back, sir.
We're back with our city auditor, Laura Doud. Laura, your office has had for some time a fraud hotline, and you have a nice brochure about that. And if people see possible theft of waste of city assets or property, they can call the fraud hotline, which is 1-888-FRAUD, F-R-A-U-D, 07. I think of James Bond, 07. But has that worked out pretty successfully?
Yes, and I think the more awareness that we bring to it, the more people will be aware on and to look out for potential fraud, waste, or abuse. So this is for if the public sees any wasteful spending that they see or abuse of any assets or fraud, to be sure and call our fraud hotline. And it could be as simple as just not receiving a receipt for a service.
Sure.
It could be very simple, but if something just doesn't add up right or doesn't feel right or seem right, we want them to call and say.
And some of those tips through the fraud hotline have resulted in successful changes.
Yes, exactly. These tips that we receive, we do follow up on, and our greatest cases come from tips.
And in some cases, they even cross over the line into criminal activity. And our guest next week will be City Prosecutor Doug Halbert, and those cases can be turned over to the prosecutor.
Yes, that's right. And in the past, we have, we did find a case where a woman did plead guilty to stealing money and serve time in jail.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you are independent and you are elected by the people. You're one of only 4 elected city auditors in the whole state of California, so you truly are independent. You don't report to the city council. You don't report to the mayor. You report to the people.
Yes.
And that gives you that element of total independence, which is very appropriate. And Laura, just for the record, was elected first in 2006, and then she ran again unopposed in 2010 and 2016. To me, as an observer of political events, that speaks very highly of you, that people chose not to oppose you because of the good job that you have been doing, and why bother?
Well, thank you. And, I appreciate you having me on your show and giving us an opportunity to communicate with the public the work that we are doing for them. And, as we serve the public, we want to use every avenue to report to them what we are doing and also to hear back from them. But I also want to give credit to a really, really great staff that works hard every day and is committed to Long Beach.
Well, among your successes were prize national award-winning audits of the Long Beach Museum of Arts, the city towing operation, the parking citations collection. I remember we weren't collecting the parking ticket revenue. That was a loss of millions of dollars of revenue to the city. And to me, very importantly, your recommendations leading to the passage of Prop H, which raised the oil extraction fee from the people that buy oil from the city, and that resulted in $3.5 million a year, each year, that continues to this day, for public safety.
Yes, an average of about $3.5 million, depending on how much oil is extracted, but that's right. And
just by getting a higher price for what we...
the tax per barrel of oil that the city is receiving, and it's really one of those tangible benefits for the public that, there's an actual fire truck that was purchased with this, with all of the equipment and supplies needed for public safety, police officers and firefighters. It was really a huge win and a great benefit for Long Beach.
So your office has really saved millions of dollars a year. I mean, there's an expense for the city auditor and everything, but the work of your office has saved the city millions and millions of dollars a year.
Yes, and just in the past year, we looked at over $20 million of operations in 7 different departments.
Wow.
We made over 80 recommendations, and again, these are recommendations we will continue to follow up on to make sure these things are being implemented, that the city is saving the money that it needs to, and it is collecting the money that it's supposed to, and that we can make this great city even better.
So I don't need to ask this question, but 10 years, you've been in office now over 10 years, you haven't lost any of the passion for the job.
Well, no, I don't know. I love it. I feel like it was tailor-made for me with my love and concern for the city. I was born in this wonderful, beautiful city, and I love it, and I'm not planning on going anywhere, so I'm really grateful.
And you got a very good education at Long Beach State,
yes,
majoring
I did.
in accounting.
Yes, and Long Beach City College first, and then Cal State Long Beach.
You're the Long Beach Promise encapsulated in one, and then you went on to law school in Pacific Coast here, so you're also legally trained, which doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't. I really feel grateful for the great education I received in Long Beach all the way around, and I'm really pleased with the success our office has had, and I'm looking forward to another successful year in 2016. The city is doing a lot of big and exciting things, and we're keeping watch.
Well said. And we'll be back with the rest of our show after these messages.
Phil Trainees mixes California style with continental cuisine that includes fresh seafood from around the world. Since Phil is the chef, the menu has a wide variety of pastas, salads, soups, and appetizers that feature his unique personal touch. And the Italian-American signature dishes are simply beyond delicious. You never know who you're going to run into at Trainees, from the famous sports legends on the Wall of Fame to local celebrities having a drink at the bar. For the best fine dining experience, visit Phil Trainees.
At Performance Plus Tire, you'll find we carry Toyo tires. For over 50 years, Toyo has been a world leader in the development of high-quality tires. Optimum performance, safety, and a comfortable ride. That's what makes Toyo tires great. And now come into Performance Plus Tire for a great deal on these Toyo tires. Proxys ST, Open Country AT, and Proxys 4. Toyo tires, driven to perform. Come in today and we'll install new Toyo tires on your vehicle while you wait. Performance Plus Tire on Cherry Avenue, 1 mile north of the 405 in Long Beach.
There's a world of opportunity available through the College of Continuing and Professional Education at Cal State Long Beach. Would you like to move ahead in the field of human resources and personnel management? Sign up for the Human Resources Management Certificate Program. You'll learn how to expand your knowledge and skills and advance in this dynamic industry. For more information, contact the College of Continuing and Professional Education at Cal State Long Beach.
You've been planning this moment for a long time. It couldn't be a more perfect moment. And you have the perfect ring that will tell her, I want to love you forever. But nothing is perfect.
Don't listen to that guy. He got the ring at McCarty's.
McCarty's makes a moment.
I think Long Beach is very fortunate to have an auditor of the quality of Laura Doud, who's so committed to her work, and she and her staff do save the city millions of dollars each year. So, Laura, thank you for your many years of service to our city.
Thank you very much. It is a privilege to serve. I'm grateful for this opportunity. And did you want to say something?
No, I just going to say that you have a minute to say whatever you want to say.
And you know, we want to continue to do better. We want to hear from the public and those we serve. How can we do better? How do they think we're doing? How can we do better? We want their ideas. We want their suggestions, and I'm trying to, you know, make myself open, available, and accessible to them. And we've provided the means of communication for the public to get involved now, and we hope that they will.
It'll be interesting to see how the social media that you've developed in this last year, giving public easier access to the work of your office and greater awareness, how that results, and whether you get more input and tips, and I suspect you will.
We hope so, yes.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Please be with us next week for the next edition of Straight Talk. Good night, everyone.
Straight Talk has been brought to you by the Port of Long Beach, the Press Telegram, and Scan Health Plan. And remember, Straight Talk is viewable 24/7 at straighttalktv.com.
Maybe he's really focused.
Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
No way. Hi. Hi. Shine, come on and let it shine. Light me up, make me feel alive. Hi. She actually said hi to you.